Good morning, everyone. This is Gal from Group Emmanuel's Khant, and today we'll be talking about marketing and advertising ethics. So the flow of the presentation will go something like this. We'll be talking about the background story, ethical issue, stakeholders involved, ethical theory applied, our stand, and our conclusion. So the background story goes something like this. John, a 60 years old security guard, wants to bring his wife to a seafood restaurant to celebrate their event. However, they found it too expensive to eat there. So his friend introduced a website that sells discounted coupons, and without hesitation, he went to check out the website. And immediately, he spied on a website he spied on a coupon that sells 50% discount at a local seafood restaurant. So without hesitation, he went to check out and wanted to pay for the coupon. So at the payment summary, there was a section of terms and conditions which state that he has to pay $88 for the price of a premium coupon. So apart from the payment summary itself, there is also a clock starting a countdown showing a due expiring in 3 minutes. And also the terms and conditions were in a smaller font size. And lastly, there's a pop-up notification box appearing time to time showing number of people viewing the same deals at the same time. So what we also know about John is that John is not tech savvy. He did not know how to zoom in on a web page. He did not know the definition of a premium deal, and he did not manage to see the terms and conditions because he was distracted by the pop-up notification box. So the ethical question here is it ethical for Dizzy to deploy the online marketing strategy given that this is to increase the profit of the company when these strategies could be misleading and cause unwanted purchases among some customers? So we have 3 assumptions in this context. The first assumption is that we assume that Dizzy wants to maximize their profits by implementing this marketing strategy, and this sales practice is actually very common among commercial websites, for example bookings.com. Our second assumption is that we assume there is a large difference between the price of a premium coupon and the price of a regular coupon. And our last assumption is that we assume that Dizzy's target audience is the general public who wants to purchase the online discount coupon. So the stakeholders involved are John and Dizzy. Now I'll hand over my time to Ruth, who will talk about the theories applied, starting from utilitarianism.
In understanding utilitarianism, we first examine Act and Rule U. Act U states that an act is right if it produces the greatest balance of pleasure, which is happiness, over pain for the greatest number, while Rule U states that an act is right if and only if it conforms to a set of rules which has a general acceptance that brings about the greatest balance of pleasure over pain for the greatest number. Now we'll take a look at Act U in applying this case. So if Dizzy were to offer a refund to John, they would benefit John and his happiness level would definitely increase. However, this action done by Dizzy will open the floodgates to other consumers who have also had this problem of having their T&Cs misread and therefore have to pay the monthly premium subscription of $88. In addition, customers will also be able to now take for granted and take advantage of this possible loophole to first lock in this premium deal and know that they can cancel at any time. The combined effects of this would be very negative for the sales of Dizzy, be it through the refund requests or future cancellations and reputation damage. The entire company could also be worse off, especially the staff and associates of Dizzy. Therefore, if we were to apply Act U in this case, Dizzy should not provide a refund to John, as it does not benefit him and the company. However, if we were to apply Rule U in this case, it might produce a different outcome. There are 2 rules here which can be argued to be generally accepted and should be conformed to, especially when it comes to online websites, especially this case. So the first is that customers should be able to accept terms and conditions without undue distress or pressure. The second is websites should be user-friendly enough and should not discriminate against other groups of people, especially like John, who might be older in age and might not be too familiar with navigating the online space. However, if we were to examine this case, the countdown timer was set for 3 minutes. This is much shorter than typical websites like Golden Village or Booking.com's when you are securing a booking. Because customers have to read the T&Cs, make sure that what they are ordering is correct, check the correct amount, input their credit card details, personal details, all under 3 minutes. And this will be pressurizing an environment for anyone. Furthermore, the font size of the T&Cs was very small. It was font size 10 and located right at the bottom of the page. On top of that, the most important clause, which was agreeing to the T&Cs and accepting to be charged quarterly of $88, was an even smaller font size of 8. John, who is slightly older in age, will find it difficult to navigate this space and also find it a bit challenging to use the computer, and this might be very unfair for him. With a bad reputation and Dizzy not conforming to the general rules that should be applied to online spaces, it can affect Dizzy's reputation, and future revenues will inevitably take a very strong hit. Hence, we believe that under the rule utilitarian approach, the maximum benefit is not obtained. Now, I pass the time on to Wayne, who will take us through other theories.
Let me take you through Egoism Free Market by Adam Smith. Right, so in Adam Smith, we believe that a free market economic system depends on the exercise of ethical behavior by corporate officials to provide for the public good. Right, the system cannot be trusted to allocate resources in the best interest of society through honesty and integrity, because the root cause of such problems is the pursuit of self-interest to the exclusion of others. Right, let us take a look at this case and this scenario. Right, Dizzy's pursuit of higher sales through a clickbait scheme resulted in ethical values being questioned. But however, Dizzy did include the terms and conditions to be agreed upon before the confirmation of the order. Therefore, we cannot penalize Dizzy on his honesty and integrity because John did agree to the terms and conditions before he confirmed the purchase or the order. So, in conclusion, Adam Smith actually state this statement, right? Rational self-interest informed by moral judgment based on fairness and justice will lead to promoting the best interests of society, guided by the invisible hand of the marketplace. The nature of the present case illustrates a need from departure from uncontrolled self-dealing for good of the society. Let's take a look at the next theory. In Kantian ethics, the principle of humanity applied to this case. Right, Maxim said that to respect human autonomy and treat each person as an end in themselves and never only as means to our own ends. When DC actually deceptively market the premium subscription model to John, they have taken away the autonomy to make sound decisions from consumers like John. This is because they did not provide them with a full and exact scenario. Dizzy has disregarded John's humanity needs and interests and disabled his ability to weigh his options, and therefore contravenes the principle of humanity. John was not given total human autonomy, he acted under the time pressure, and is not familiar with computers. Therefore, it actually affected his judgment and his decision in time of making a decision. In Kantian ethics of principle of universality, Dizzy would act only on rules that is willing to see everyone follow. Right, so this follows the idea of reciprocity. Right, other companies should be allowed to use these marketing strategies because Dizzy is using them too. So if Dizzy actually falls prey to these products or these marketing schemes, he should accept the fact that they may also be tricked online by the companies and make unwanted deals. So this depreciates the overall value of honesty and trust in a business. Okay, next I'll pass the time on to my teammate to actually go through the other theories applied in this case.
Okay, so now I'll talk about the John Rawls social justice theory. So John Rawls social justice theory states that people should make ethical decisions behind a veil of ignorance so that no one can take advantage of others for their own good. And the two relevant principles here derived from his veil of ignorance theory are the equal rights principle and the greatest benefits for the least advantaged principle. Okay. In this case, by Rawls' equal rights principle, every customer of Dizzy should be given equal rights to fully understand the information on the web page, such as the content of terms and conditions and the subscription for terms before they agree to them. However, Dizzy sales practice fails this principle because the sales practice makes it very difficult for the group of people who are not familiar with the computer and the internet or having poor eye vision to read the text and make rational decisions. And Dizzy's sales practice also goes against John Rawls' principle of an ethical decision should benefit the least advantaged group in the society to the largest extent. The sales practice instead disadvantages the group of people who need help most. Again, elder people like John usually have less opportunity or experience to browse the internet. Many of them are also not aware of the online marketing strategies carried out by the various commercial websites, and many of the elder person also have poor eye vision due to aging, which make it even harder for them to read the small text on the web page. And they should be one of the group of customers who need help most when they are trying to understand the content of online agreements. However, they are not took care of or benefited in this case. In fact, Dizzy discounts make use of weakness of those group of customers to make profits. Therefore, Dizzy's sales practice also feels the greatest benefits for the least advantaged principle. Next, we'll talk about the libertarianism. Libertarianism emphasizes on the concept of individualism. So individuals should make decisions themselves and they are responsible for their action. And in this case, for Dizzy's point of view, all the information is presented on the web page already, regardless of Dizzy's manipulation of the font size. But John failed to read the information carefully as the information of the monthly premium membership fee was actually already stated in the terms and conditions and delivered to John on the web page. Therefore, it is John's responsibility to pay for his careless, and Dizzy did nothing unethical. This is from Dizzy's point of view. However, libertarianism also emphasizes the concept of individual rights, and from John's point of view, he has a right to be secure in life, property, which is his money, and liberty, which means he has the right to click what he wants to click, to say what he wants to say, and most importantly, he has the right to buy what he wants to buy with freedom. Therefore, in this case, Dizzy's sales practice actually fuels the libertarianism theory. Next, I'll pass my time to my teammates to talk more.
So for virtue ethics, Aristotle, it emphasizes the values or moral character in contrast to the approach that emphasizes duties or rules or the consequences of action. So in this case, Dizzy might have laid out this marketing strategy to trick users into purchasing the premium member coupons, but the true intention is actually to increase the revenue of the company. From John's point of view, John might just see it as a marketing scheme to trick people into buying the coupon. Thus, it is not applicable here. Moving on, we have Confucianism ethics, which focus on humanity and self-development. So profit-making business activities not condemned unless conducted for selfish purposes and against the public good. So is coming up with this marketing scheme against public good? Yes, because the public is placed in a situation where they are more likely to misreading the terms and conditions and thus pay more. So in the context of John, the extra money that he fork out could be his savings for other expenses like medical fees, his utilities, etc. Bear in mind that John is a 60-year-old security guard who still has to work, in this case as a security guard, meaning he is on a tight budget trying to make ends meet, and he has no savings whatsoever and is not comfortable living life without a job. And now, my groupmates will continue with other ethical theories.
So for Robert Solomon, these are the 6 parameters in his defining business ethics: community, integrity, excellence, membership, holism, and judgment. So for this case, we could only apply 4 of his parameters. For community, Dizzy is supposed to be a business that is that enhances society, even though they provide discounts for users such as John, but John ends up paying more than he actually bargained for. Therefore, corresponding with utilitarianism, in the long run, customers will be unhappy with Dizzy's tactics. For excellence, Dizzy did not meet the requirements for excellence in the marketplace. The scarcity technique is a common practice in the industry. However, extremely small fine prints in the terms and conditions and no summary of the full price in a transaction is unfair, especially to those who are unable to read those terms and conditions. For integrity, although Dizzy did not lie about the discounts and promotions, they hid the actual cost of the coupons and did not explain the premium deal to first-time buyers. This was also a limitation because John may or may not have noticed the link to the premium deals, but it could have been lost among the pop-ups. For judgment, when John demanded for refunds, Dizzy countered the claims, saying that John is bounded by the terms and conditions that he clicked on. However, the terms and conditions were already in a small fine print, and Dizzy used this as to back up their claims against the organization. So for our conclusion, we feel that the majorities of the theories lean against Dizzy's marketing and advertising to be unethical. As a team, we also feel that it is unethical for Dizzy to use fine prints to hide the real cost of the transaction and use scarcity tactics to lure customers into purchasing coupons. Under the Act U perspective, in the short run, it can be argued that Dizzy should not give in to John's request, because by doing so, it immediately opens up the floodgates of other further cancellations and leaves the system vulnerable to be taken advantage of. However, if Dizzy's online platforms are not improved, in the long run, there will be an increasing amount of unhappy customers and overall unhappiness among society. However, from the Rule U perspective, Dizzy definitely did not conform to the general set of accepted rules proposed above. So Dizzy website gives their customers undue pressure, such as a short 3 minutes, and extremely unfriendly interface because of the small font size and the many pop-ups. This discriminates against people like John, since they do not follow generally accepted rules, and this does not achieve the greatest amount of happiness over pain by the Rule U. By and large, but the team feels that Dizzy's marketing and advertising is unethical. Thank you. Now for the discussion questions. Details were in the terms and conditions, but John was careless. Therefore, could it be that in this case, John was portrayed as an old innocent man, and Dizzy was seen as unethical, trying to manipulate him? But what if John was a young person and had a sharp eye, and will the ethical dilemma still exist?